In this tutorial, we're going to talk about how to write the equation of a line given the slope and a point on the line. In particular, we're going to look at writing the equation of a line that has a slope of 2 and goes through the point -2, 3. Now, anytime you're asked to write the equation of a line, first thing you want to do is take a look at what information is given to you. So I'm going to highlight that information. I'm told that the slope is 2, and the point that we want to use is -2, 3. Now, we have three forms of a linear equation. One is slope-intercept form, one is point-slope form, and one is standard form. Now, based on the information that's given to me in this particular problem, the slope and a point, it makes the most sense to use point-slope form. As the name says, I need to know a point and I need to know the slope, which I do in this case. So I don't want to start with slope-intercept form, I don't want to start with standard form, because based on the information, I can quickly go into point-slope form. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get this set up to insert the values that I know. And what I mean by that is I'm going to put in three pieces of information. I'm going to put in the y1, I'm going to put in the m, and I'm going to put in the x1. So what I like to see students do is I like to see them give me a blank next to the y, give me a blank right in front of the parentheses, and then give me a blank after the x. Okay, now let's go back up to the information that's given to me. I know that 2 is the slope, which is m. So I'm going to call that m. And I know that -2 is the x value, x1. And I know that 3 is the y value, y1. So I'm going to take those three numbers, 2, -2, and 3, and I'm going to insert them in the appropriate spot. So the m is 2. The y, I'm going to put -3. And next to the x, I'm going to put +2. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, why did he put -3 and +2 when the point clearly says -2, +3? Why did I change the signs? Well, that's a good question. So let's go back to the formula. The formula has minus signs. And what I like to tell students is, look, when I have a formula or an equation, a negative refers to using the opposite. So if the x value is -2, the opposite of that would be +2, which is why over on the right side here I put +2. The y value is +3, so therefore the opposite of it would be -3. So when we're going into point-slope form, we want to think about the opposite. So keep that in mind. Think opposite when you're putting in the x and the y. Now, if you're only being asked to do point-slope form, you're done. So let me write off to the side here. This is point-slope form. Typically, though, we're being asked to do a little bit more. We're probably going to be asked to go all the way to slope-intercept form, for example. So if you're being asked to go to slope-intercept form, here's what you would have to do. It's a two-step process. I'm going to take what I just came up with, and I'm going to keep going. So what I mean by that is I'm going to have y -3 equals, and I'm going to distribute my 2. So I'm going to get 2x plus 4. Now, hopefully you remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, which means that you have to get the y value by itself. So I have to keep on going. I've got to move that 3, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I end up with y equals 2x plus 7. And that right there represents the slope-intercept form. So let me write slope-intercept form. Okay. So I have my point-slope form and I have my slope-intercept form. So it all depends on what you're being asked to find. If you're being asked to find point-slope form, stop there. If you're being asked to find slope-intercept form, you got to keep on going. So it just depends on what form you're being asked for. Now let's talk about standard form real quick. If you're being asked for standard form, you got to go a little bit further. Standard form means x and y need to be on the same side. So let me rewrite my slope-intercept form. I have y equals 2x plus 7. So for standard form, I would need to move the 2x to the left. So I'm going to subtract 2x. So that gives me negative 2x plus y equals 7. And then standard form, we like a, the term at the front, to be positive. So I'm going to reverse all of my signs. So 2x minus y equals negative 7. So let me say that one more time. Standard form is a very picky form. X and y need to be on the same side. You can't have fractions. And a, the number in front of x, cannot be negative. So you got to keep those things in mind. So I'm going to write off to the side. That is what we call standard form. Okay, so to review, anytime you're given the slope and a point, you want to start in point slope form, and if you need to, you are then going to convert to slope intercept form, and if you need to go further, you're going to convert to standard form. It all depends on what form you're being asked for. But regardless, you must start with point slope form. Now, let's take a look just to make sure that we're right. I'm going to bring up my graphing calculator here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to graph the slope-intercept form just to show you that I'm right here. I'm going to take 2x plus 7 and I'm going to graph it. And what I want to do is I want to take a look to see if the point that was given to me, negative 2, 3, falls on that line. I just want to make sure I'm right. So I'm going to go over and see if negative 2, 3 is on my line. And I can see right there that negative 2, 3 is on the line. I also want to see if my slope was correct. Remember, we were told that the slope was 2, which would mean I would go up 2 over 1. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So as I go up 2, 1, 2, I do go over 1. Up 2, over 1, up 2, over 1, which means that I've done this correct.